Hey guys, I am back. I really have no good excuse other than just pure sorriness. It's the reason I haven't been on here. Uh, but I'm back now and I will try my best to do a video a week. Today we're going to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, I'm going to give you a little short version of it and then we'll go over the whole thing. Upon learning that the Lord was about to destroy the wicked cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham bargained with God to spare the city if he could find just 10 righteous people. But only one man, Lot, was found righteous, and the cities were destroyed. As Lot and his family fled the city, Lot's wife turned and looked back at the city despite being warned not to, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Let's see. Abraham, the courteous host, accompanies his guest for part of the way on the road towards Sodom. Because of his special relationship with Abraham, the Lord decides to allow him a special glimpse of his plans to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. The sinful reputation is well known to the people of the area. Sin has become so rampant that the Lord knows that there is no hope, that the people will repent. It sounds kind of familiar, don't it? Abraham must have heard about the sin in the two cities years before. When Abraham's nephew Lot moved to the area near Sodom, we first heard about the reputation of the men of Sodom in Genesis chapter 13, verse 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Years after Lot moved, Abraham and his men had to rescue him from one of Sodom's enemies. When the king of Sodom wanted to reward Abraham, Abraham refused to take money from the wicked king. Despite all of this, Abraham knew that the Lord was about to destroy his nephew's city. Abraham tries to bargain with the Lord. The Lord agreed to spare Sodom if he found 50 righteous people there. Abraham kept lowering the number until the Lord finally agreed to spare Sodom if there were 10 righteous people residing there. This seemed like so few people that Abraham must have felt secure that he had saved Lot's city from being destroyed. The truth was that only Lot and his immediate family were righteous. When the two angels arrived in Sodom, they planned to sleep in the city square. The men of the city were so perverted that Lot knew the angels would not be safe. So he took them into his own home. And then I wanted to add this part. In Jewish custom, taking someone into your home meant that you were vowing your complete protection for these people. Now Lot offered his 2 daughters to the men who were begging him to send the 2 men angels out so they could know them. Such was the commitment of protection that Lot was offering to strangers. He'd offered his 2 daughters that had never known a man to them men that were trying to get him to send the male angels out so they could, be perverted with them. Now, when the men of Sodom attacked Lot and tried to break down his door, the angels pulled Lot inside and struck the men blind. Obviously, there are not 10 righteous people in Sodom. The angels told Lot to gather his family and leave the city. Now, upon reading this and noticing Lot had quite a few more daughters, because it says obviously the only 2 that were living with him were the 2 that had never known a man, which were the 2 that he had offered to the men wanting the angels. And the fact that even the men married to Lot's other daughters did not take Lot seriously shows that Lot had no influence in the city. The people there were so tangled. I guess I needed to add, it said that Lot's son-in-laws actually laughed at him. Okay, the people there were so tangled in sin that they would not even listen to Lot. Lot, his wife, and 2 of their daughters hesitated. I'm sure they had trouble believing this was actually going to happen. I'm sure they found it difficult to leave their home and other family. This is something place they'd lived for years, I'm sure they found it very difficult. Now it said that the angels grasped their hands and led them away. In Genesis chapter 19, verse 17, it says, "And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed." Now, it's the angel telling them that. Lot begged to be allowed to stop in the nearby city of Zoar. He was afraid that they could not make it to the mountains in time. The angels agreed to the plan. When Lot and his family arrived in Zoar, Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. The Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Lot and his daughters believed what the angels had said. They understood that Sodom and Gomorrah would be destroyed and that they should not look back. They accepted the will of God. Now Lot's wife, on the other hand, looked back, and when she did, she became a pillar of salt. In Genesis chapter 19, verse 26, hundreds of years later, I found this amazing. Hundreds of years later, Jesus uses Lot's wife as an example of one who tries to keep their old life instead of accepting God's judgment and will. Now, it tells us of Sodom and Gomorrah in Genesis, and that's the Old Testament, but it actually mentions it in the New Testament in the book of Luke, chapter 17, verses 32 through 33. It says, "Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it." And it made me, Proverbs 3:5. "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." I'm sure at the time they were wondering why they had to leave this place and why that's just trust in God. He knows what's best for you. That was our lesson. Now we have fun facts. Did you know there was a woman named Noah in Joshua chapter 17, verse 3? But Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons but daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah and Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. Did you know that the word Bethlehem means house of bread? And the Hebrew word for apple is Ishon, and it means pupil. Let's see. Did you know the walls surrounding Babylon were 87 feet thick and 387 feet high? Now, in ancient times, Jewish boys didn't officially get their names until they were circumcised on the 8th day after being born. When a child is circumcised, he is entered into God's covenant with Abraham and his descendants. He joins a chain linking him to the very beginning of our nation. So, in Jewish custom, it's only fitting to give him his Jewish name after he has become a full-fledged member of the Jewish nation. That was our lesson and fun facts for this week. Like I said, I'm sorry for missing those 2 weeks. I've missed you all. I've missed doing these lessons. Have a good weekend and a good next week. I love y'all, and I will see you next Friday. Bye.